Hello, Tanya.
Hello.
Can you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and what led you to centered meditation?
Sure. So I'm Tanya, and I love the outdoors. I live in the Blue Mountains on Darug and Gundungurra country, and I love being outside. I do lots of trail running and mountain biking and kayaking and all those sorts of things, and watching the sunset and the sunrise. And I find such peace and stillness out there when I'm out in the bush. But the thing that really led me to finding and doing meditation and ultimately doing the teacher training with centered meditation was that I I needed I needed some tools that I could actually to help me cope when I was feeling overwhelmed and emotional. And I couldn't just run away to the bush. As we all do, we have responsibilities. We have many of us work full time. We have family commitments, and when things got tough, I couldn't just pack it all up and run away and go camping. So, in finding centered meditation and then ultimately the teacher training, it allowed me to really hone in on those, on the inner growth and understand things and where I was at and why perhaps I was behaving in certain ways. And it allowed me to go on that journey and to really understand meditation in a way that perhaps I hadn't understood it before. I'd done different types of meditation sort of on and off over the years, but I really started to see the effectiveness of doing it regularly every day. And that was the real turning point.
Love it. And then what did you get out of doing the teacher training when you did it?
The teacher training was almost like doing a jigsaw puzzle, in the sense that when you put the edges around the jigsaw puzzle, all of a sudden you had a framework and you had this, it made it easier to put all the other pieces together. And I think for me, that's what it did. It just allowed me to connect things better. And I think I had all these jigsaw puzzles that were all over the place, and then all of a sudden it just pulled the frame, put it in, gave it this framework, and it allowed me to just start connecting things, which was great. And so, the inner growth was so essential in that. And then the meditation or learning a bit more about the meditation and practicing it, all of a sudden those two things came together and really made a difference for me. So yeah, it was a real turning point.
Mm. And I love that analogy of the jigsaw puzzle and like having all the pieces, but then finally being able to put them all together. Can you give us like a tangible example of some of the jigsaw puzzles or the pieces, and then, what that looked like and what that brought to your life when you finally had it come together like that?
Yeah, so I think probably for me, sometimes, there are people in our lives, that trigger us, and that can be really hard at work as well when you're trying to be professional and you're trying to get on with a job, and then you get triggered. And so I think, for me, I was understanding somewhat that I was being agitated by different circumstances or people. But in doing the training, in doing the teacher training, all of a sudden I was able to sort of really dive deep into my triggers and to dive deep into what was actually happening internally for me, so that I could then actually go, okay, well, what do I need to do differently? How does this need to change? And it gave me the space to explore it, and it gave me the chance to really start thinking about how I could do things differently. And it wasn't overnight, and it never is. But what it did was it started to, I started to shift. It started to be this shift and a change towards in a different direction. And ultimately, over time, what that meant was that, when I was being faced with the same circumstances or the people that were agitating me previously, all of a sudden I was able to create a bit more space. So I wasn't being quite as reactive. I was able just to have that space to go, how do I want this to go? How do I want this to work out? And so I guess I felt I had more. I brought my power back to me, because all of a sudden I realized that I had a responsibility to. It wasn't the other person; it was me.
I love it. And it really takes something to be able to do that. It takes courage and to really look into yourself and explore and face things that might be uncomfortable that we haven't wanted. We spend our life kind of holding down, so we
Yeah,
haven't had
and
to face
I
them.
think such a big thing is taking responsibility for it, and I think that was what, that's something that really stuck out for me, was just that idea that, I wasn't a victim sitting there, to be so, for someone to feel sorry for me. Actually, I had within it my capacity to take responsibility for me and for the outcomes, so that was really big.
Mm, so cool. Thank you. And what are you doing in your business now? What are you doing with the training?
So it's wonderful. I now have obviously a very regular practice of meditation, and I sort of kickstarted my business, Deep Breath Nature Therapy, a few years ago, and it's really helped me to sort of offer not only just meditation, which I have now an insight timer, and I do one-on-ones with people as well, but it's also allowed me to bring my passion of the outdoors and my skills as a bushwalking guide, and to bring those two things together. So I can actually take people outdoors, and living up here in the Blue Mountains and being a guide. I have all these great locations and really special places that I can take people to. And when I say take them, it's not just we're going on a bushwalk. It's actually an immersion. So it's a slow, notice all the details, really sort of be in that moment, be present, which then really helps facilitate a meditation. In fact, so sitting out in nature, doing a meditation, using your anchor as the bird sound or a waterfall is really beautiful. So, so the meditation's been great because it's really sort of added to my, to what I can offer when I take people out.
And can you say again what the name of your business is?
Yes, so it's Deep Breath Nature Therapy.
Love
Yes.
it. Deep breath nature therapy. And it's so amazing because we're meant to be in nature as human beings. That's where we come from, that's our roots. And yet we're now so stuck in the indoors and in these concrete jungles. But just going into nature, taking a deep breath in there,
Yes.
and really tuning in with all of our senses, it's so rejuvenating, right?
Yeah.
And the
And I
science is
find
showing that too.
totally, and there's a lot of science around it. And I find when I take people out, it's incredible how just being in nature, just the very fact that you're outside and all of the sensory input is very different to when you're in a building or in another setting like that. And so just the fact that you're out in nature immediately just reduces people sort of their anxieties, and they're more willing to relax into the space and into the experience that they're having. So you're almost sort of off on a good start by just coming out into nature in the first place. And then we get out there, and as I said, I've spent a lot of time outdoors, and I love to show people. I love them to see what I see when I go out there. So all the details, the things that are tiny and the things that are huge, and there's some really special things out there that often people overlook in their hurry to get to a destination or to the lookout, or something like that. So when they come with me, it's very slow and it's
Mm,
very immersive, and it's about noticing, and that really builds towards doing a meditation out there as well. And all of a sudden people are receiving so much more because they're already in a place that is allowing them to be still and allowing them to have their senses open to a really different input, which is great.
mm. Oh, I love that. It's like taking a walk in your shoes, but really it's like taking a look through your eyes.
Yes, and that's what I do with all my meditations, even if it's inside one-on-one. I like to take people to these same places. I take them, on these visualizations of all the bushwalks I've done, places I've gone and things that I've seen. I just love sharing that with people because when they see it, all of a sudden they can't unsee it now, and so they start noticing it themselves. And so when they go home, they start seeing it when they're at home as well in their local parks. So it has a flow on effect, which is great.
So cool. You can't unsee what you see. Well, so yeah, it's
Yes.
so true. I love it. Cool. And is there anything upcoming or anything that you want to direct our community to in particular? You mentioned your Insight Timer page.
Yes. So I am on Insight Timer as Tanya Chivers me. And so a lot of the meditations that I do with these nature visualizations and these bushwalks are all on there. So people can jump on that. And of course, that's free. So you can jump on that. In fact, all of the birds, so when I go bushwalking, I often record the dawn chorus, which is all the bird sound first thing in the morning. So if all you want to do is wake up and hear the birds of the rainforest or wherever I've been, I've got those on there as well. And then I've also been doing some breathing and mantras in some shorter ones. So if you've only got like, sort of 5-10 minutes on occasion and you just sort of want to focus in on your breath work and some mantras, I've got that in there as well. So there's a lots of different times and different sort of styles that hopefully people can sort of will suit you where you are at and what you need to do. And I often have people sort of even in their lunch break just sort of doing a quick one just to sort of reset, and just to relax that body and to reset if they can't do the longer ones. So that's definitely an option for everyone.
Oh, amazing. And then if you are a group or you have a group and you're planning an event or a work something, then they can
Yes,
contact you as well.
yeah, definitely. So for anyone that has a group that wants to come out and not just do a bushwalk, but actually to come and to really experience what it's like to be out in the bush and to notice everything that's out there and to experience the meditation in nature, absolutely. Yeah, let me know, and I can definitely sort of, as I said, I've been guiding for a couple of years, and I can take you to some lovely places too.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much today for your time today, Tanya. And
Yes.
it's so good to chat to you and hear your story and what you're going out there in the world and offering. It's just so unique and so beautiful. So
Thank you.